Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Bowling. Thank you for joining me. I just found out something that just really shows me the level by which the left will go in order to spread disinformation, misinformation, whatever you want to call it. This, to me, is clearly not an error in writing. But I'm not going to get into the detail of this. I'm going to get into the detail of this after we go over this article. But I just found out that the Washington Post, which is a left-leaning news site, claimed that George Floyd was shot and killed. Now, we all know, in fact, people all over the world know that that's not the case. But evidently, according to the Washington Post, he was shot and killed. Now, let's get into this article because I got something to say about this that I believe I have a theory as to what they're trying to do in presenting this kind of false claim. But the article says, the Washington Post was trolled on social media Tuesday for falsely claiming George Floyd was, quote, shot and killed by police. Wednesday, May 25th will be the 2-year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd, and though his death came at the hands of Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, Floyd was not shot and killed by police. Obviously, this was the claim made by the Washington Post in its survey asking people, quote, how things have changed, end quote, in their communities since that fatal day. And here's one of the tweets rebutting, basically criticizing that statement from Washington Post. This is from Jessica O'Donnell. Says George Floyd was not shot. If they lie when you don't know the truth, if they lie when you know the truth, you better believe they're lying when you don't have video evidence. That's crazy. That's just crazy. As video evidence showed, Officer Derek Chauvin held his knee to the back of George Floyd's neck for nearly 9 minutes, resulting in his death. That video has been widely shared across hundreds, if not thousands, of media platforms all around the world. And think about that, all around the world. Really? Why would you share that all around the world? And we'll get into that. I'm going to get into my theory of that. In fact, no video of police brutality has been more infamous since perhaps the beating of Rodney King in 1991. Both of which tore the nation apart and spawned some of the worst riots in modern history. And let me make a comment about that. An unfortunate situation that occurred with the beating of Rodney King. But when I attended the police academy in 2005, I found out some things that the media, the mainstream media, never really likes to talk about. Now, does that mean that Rodney King's beating was justified? No, not at all. It was clear that the police officers, to a large extent, took their authority way beyond what it should have been. But what tends to happen in these videos is that you only see a portion of what actually happened. You don't see the events preceding the actual beating. And I know people want to poot and snot and get all upset about that. What are you talking about, man? Come on, man. Stop with all that. There is a past. There is a history. There are events that precede other modern present events. Okay. I'm here today because I was here last night. Okay. I'm here talking to you today because I have a history. That history was from 1 o'clock in the morning till about 8:30 this morning. I was sleeping. And when I got up, I had private devotion, I washed up, ate breakfast. Okay. And then I started these videos. I had a history that preceded me being here today talking to you on this video. Now, I know that sounds lightweight comical, but you get the point. There was a history of events or a set of events that took place before Rodney King was started getting beat by the police officers. In other words, when I was in the police academy, what I was told by not only the police officers that were training, but the cadets that were there, that isn't all that happened. There were certain events that led up to Rodney King. He was being beat. He was resisting arrest, trying to attack the officers, all this kind of stuff, which is unfortunately the usual case with a significant number of blacks. Not all blacks, so please don't put in the commentary I'm putting black people down. I said a significant number of blacks. Okay, I'm not a he's a self-loathing black person. Man, come on with all that. That stuff is foolishness. I'm just a truth setter. I tell the truth. I like to know all the truth, not just the part the mainstream media tries to spin at us. Okay, let's go on. That the Washington Post could say George Floyd was shot and killed addresses its respect for the truth. Needless to say, the paper of record was hammered mercilessly for its era, and that's true. I mean, why would you even say that he was shot and killed? But we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Another tweet by the name Andy NGO. I don't know how to pronounce that, his last name. He says that he was never shot. He died of cardiopulmonary arrest. An official autopsy found nothing to support a diagnosis of traumatic asphyxia. Oh, please forgive me. Please forgive me. My pronouncings are really bad. But according to Lee, he didn't die of strangulation. Asphyxia or strangulation. His blood he had a high blood count and a significant amount of fentanyl in his system. Now, I shared that fact with one of my coworkers, and they didn't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I shared it with a member of my church who was upset and just swore up and down that George Floyd was killed because he was black. And I shared with them other evidence that may challenge that assessment or challenge that assertion. I shared with her the fact that he had a high volume of fentanyl, which is a very dangerous drug, in his system, and that he was complaining that he couldn't breathe before the knee on the neck. A video shows that he was claiming he couldn't breathe before the knee was on the neck. Okay, so what's going on here? We'll go on. This is a tweet from Max Abrams. Washington Post, which wants to restrict free speech to combat disinformation, can't even get this well-known event right. Another tweet from Tim Swain states, "You may have deleted the tweet, but the internet is forever." Right. Another tweet says, by Kyle Smith, "Do you guys have editors?" And another tweet, last tweet, I'll read one more tweet, says, by Joe Gabriel Simpson, "I think an editor wrote this." Yeah. But the article goes on to say the Washington Post later amended the post and deleted its tweet. Yeah, whatever. "We've deleted a previous tweet for this form and that included language that was changed after published," it said. Yeah, I bet you did. So I'm going to end the article right there. I just want to get right into this. That's a shame. That's a shame that they would put that out there. Now, what I want to say right up front, in my opinion, I do not believe that was an error. How can you make an error that plain and that bold is beyond me? That was not an error. They know, in my opinion, that he was not shot and killed. But what I think, because it's a left-leaning news site, I'm not saying all of them do this, but a significant number of these left-leaning news sites do things like this. They misrepresent information and take things out of its original context to spin a narrative. This narrative is the idea that white police officers are going around arbitrarily gunning down black people simply because they're black. That is not true. The evidence does not support that assertion. So I don't believe at all this was an error on the part of the Washington Post. What I believe is that because voting time is coming up, the midterms are coming up, they have to spin as much disinformation as they possibly can and I know a lot of people are not going to like this, in the minds of black people. Now, you may be asking, why black people? Because 90% of blacks vote Democrat. If they spin this idea that he was shot and killed, even though everyone knows that he was not shot and killed, it's going to be placed in the back of their subconscious brain that he was shot and killed, even though they know consciously he was not shot and killed. And that's going to make them more angry against conservatives and Republicans, thus preventing them from voting Republican come midterm. I think that that's in part what that really is. I don't think that that was an error at all. You don't make an error like that. You don't make an error that blatant and then take it down. Please, come on, man. They knew exactly what they were doing. This is another Marxist attempt to keep the division going. It's mind control. The idea is to get you to thinking. See, like I said, everybody knows that he was not shot and killed. That's people all over the world knows that. But if you put out there, he was shot and killed, even though people know he was not. As I said before, and I'm going to say it again, it gets into the subconscious mind. It doesn't have to be true. All you need to do is say it, and it gets in the subconscious, and it gets in your subconscious, and your subconscious absorbs that information. Next thing you know, as time goes on, and you're bombarded with more disinformation, and more lies, and more half-truths, all that information and misinformation is absorbed in your subconscious as well. So by the time voting time comes, even though you know all of that crap was a lie, your subconscious embraces it as true. And when it comes time to vote, you don't vote for the opposite party. You vote for the same party that supports this kind of rhetoric. That's what I think it is. The other thing I think it is all, I believe, a Marxist attempt to keep, like I said before, to keep the division going. The Marxist communists that have infiltrated this country do not want unity. They don't want blacks and whites getting along. They don't want other races and ethnic groups getting along and coming together. That poses a problem to their power base that they're trying to establish. They have to keep us divided with true misinformation. Misinformation, disinformation, uninformation, whatever. They have to keep us divided. So they'll say something blatantly a lie just to get in your subconscious. When they know it's a lie, you know it's a lie, but a significant number, unfortunately, of black people that hear about this is going to absorb this subconsciously. And because they refuse to look at alternative news sources to show them the other side, even though they consciously know it's a lie, they're going to allow it to absorb in their subconscious, and they're going to start believing it. That's how people, that's just my theory on that. I wholeheartedly believe that. And let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But like I said, this is a flat out lie. And I believe I know what they're doing. They're trying to manipulate people's emotions. But what do you guys think about this article? Even though they deleted it, what do you think their intentions were? Do you think it was a mistake, or do you think it was on purpose? I think it was on purpose. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, share this video, and subscribe. God bless you all, and see you again on another Black Conservative with Ryan Bolin.